Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another wonderful session of Poems from Connecticut's Four Corners. This series was started and is curated by Barb Jennes, who is the former poet laureate of Ridgefield and a much published poet herself. She has two new books coming out. Welcome, Barb.
Oh, thank you, Lucy, and thank you everyone for coming. Thank you, poets, for being with us this evening. It's a great night to hunker down and have some great poetry read to you. So we welcome you here. I just wanted to offer a look at what we're going to have in our lineup for next month. It's actually going to be kind of a special session on poets from Connecticut who have new books, either recently published or about to come out. I can show you, let me do a share screen. I'll show you who we have coming in. Share, and we do this. Hopefully you can see that. All right, there, can you see that?
Oh,
There it is.
Yes.
Yeah, there we go. So we have Sandy Yanone, Jay Brook, Tony Fusco, Katie Schneider, and Robert Piazza, a couple of poets laureate from around the state of Connecticut there. Three of them are poets laureate. Actually, four of the five. And so it'd be wonderful to hear them read from their new books that they have coming. So please join us on June 3rd at 7 o'clock. All right, make it rid of that. Stop share. Okay, so tonight we're going to start right off with a wonderful new, I shouldn't say new, and I won't say young, but I'll say beautiful poet who's joining us from Danbury. Brianna Bencosme Bido is a Dominican-American poet and teaching artist from Danbury whose work explores grief and violence in the African Diaspora. A recipient of the 2025 Emerging Artist Fellowship from the Connecticut Council of the Arts, she currently teaches writing at Post University. So I'm going to also put Brianna's full bio in the chat, so be sure to check there for more information about her. And welcome, Brianna.
Hi, Barb. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. Yeah, so should I just jump right in?
Jump right in.
Okay, great. I'm going to set up a timer just so that I don't go over time. All right. So this first poem, and these poems were kind of inspired by Sonia Sanchez. So these first poems are part of a series. Here's the first one. Yes, and even then you push against the sun, a blazing eye in the palm of your hand, a tunnel running through your life, running through your veins. For when my son tells me, I want to make good music, Mama, I want to make good music. Yes, and please, yes, and please, God Almighty. Yes, and praise with dance and praise. Yes, dance and praise. For when my daughter asks to pray, yes, and yes, and yes, and you can sing when you are blue, when you are not blue. Birds do, do. Yes, and you can fly, multiply your harvest, that good music. Found liberation songs for our children after Sonia Sanchez. Yes, and we gon' do that. Gonna be daughters of Sonia's songs. Gonna be the Simon of Jesus's passion. Gonna be the hair of Samson. Gonna be the Pegasus of Muhammad's prophecy. Gonna be the jewel on Esther's crown. Gonna be the healer to Tupac's wound. Gonna be the rose that grew. Gonna be the beautiful black ones blooming in a dark room. So beware, stepper, beware, 'cause we sisters gonna be here. Gonna be the op against oppression. Gonna be the praise through depression. And you know we gonna do that. This is found poem in Sonia's Dream after Sonia Sanchez. No more meetings about Whitey, who did us wrong. No more memorials for the gone, the beautiful black ones. Gonna be the wind in Lucille's sail. Gonna be clover in our pockets. Gonna be the kiss of Baldwin's eyes. Gonna be poets and the phoenix. Gonna be all kinds of light. Gonna be shine and ash. Gonna be all types of colors like black and blue and yellow and black and blue and red and yellow and black and red and yellow and black. We gon' do that. So that's it for that series. I have another small series that's about a fictional character named Nay. So this is Nay Not Trippin', because she be in the gym like Fergie, and her jeans read thunder. Her smiles be all white like coconut, cause she floss and keep up regularly with her business. She the type you see counting money with a new French set, wearing chinchilla, smacking gum at the television, but don't put up being beat by no man. She's real no nonsense, the way she put her manicure in my face and say, "Look, girl," and point to her chest and say, "It's real sweet in here, all love and light for real." And she tap her temple and say, "But I wasn't born yesterday." Soon as she said it, her phone start blowing up, and she just laughing at old dude like the girls do when they win double dutch and you lose. Nay got a signature. An expensive smell for cheap at a boutique down the block from our grandma's house. She be leaving a trail of noses behind her when she walk through parties, and when her friends ask about the perfume, she be lying. She got it as a gift from a boyfriend, but nay be like Emma Stone in that one parody of The Scarlet Letter. She be easy to lie for a little allure. In the bathroom, she would have me check her breath, her armpits, faja, booty sweat, the smell of the backs to her earrings, the green stain around her belly button ring, the text from her mother who would have whooped her ass to heaven's gates had she known she was serving so much shoulder, thigh, and midsection. And when we were little, I wanted to be just like her. She would say she was psychic, and sometimes I believed her because I watched her, and she made things happen without lifting a finger. How she walked like a premonition of her stardom. She couldn't sneeze, breathe, or pee without somebody asking if she needed something for free or at no cost, not a problem at all. In fact, if at all, she'd be in need to only give them a call. All of a sudden, Ramel and his friends got manners where they normally don't. And whatever she on, they on. If she's a feminist, they a PhD in gynecology. And if she expect a man to pay, they overly offering. If she were Courtney Love, they'd be rock stars. For the moment, she made everyone aware of a made-up future they shared with her. And it never used to bother me until one day I wake up in sweat, peeling myself out the shade of Nay's shadow. Halle Berry's understudy, hardly Betty, a designated Letty, La a secretary, fan to her locks, and a keeper of her lore. So that's it for the little series on Nay. There's this one poem that I wrote after watching some interviews of Maya Angelou. I don't know if anybody else loves to just watch that. I would read that woman's grocery list. And I was inspired after hearing her talk a little bit about the topic of modesty. So I wrote, Mother Angelou, I have no shame or modesty, Miss Angelou, I learned from you how to be full grown into like a pair of sexy panties. Dr. Angelou, my tooth fairy, You told me in my sleep to keep my teeth and my money. So now I speak like cash registers. Everybody understands me. Um, Here's another. This is actually a short little prose poem. I don't normally write prose poems, but I like the voice in this one. This is named after a gospel song, I Got Shoes. I got shoes. They finna call you la de las botras negras. 'Cause you wear them damn kitten booties every day like nobody's business. Like you ain't got no shoes, no clothes, no business. Don't you know how prim and proper the prosperous are? And why you so moody all the time like you the only one round here trying to get by? You wear the fast on your face all gray and skinny. And don't you know you not supposed to pray out in the streets so people see and call you godly? Them damn Jesuits want to see everybody in distressed leather. And they got you preaching. You must think you Mother Teresa or something. Well, let me tell you something about Calcutta, Miss Uppity. That woman ain't no saint. Baptizing in the name of the Father, Son, and Pope John Paul II. Don't you know you lose abundance when you put your purse down on the ground, girl? Look at the line going up the stairway to heaven. You see anybody here without a clean white polo tee? Girl, please. Poverty ain't a personality, honey. And don't want to see a pretty educated girl in a hoopty. Plus, the Pope ain't coming out the Vatican unless he got something to sell you. So who you performing for? Jesus ain't asked you to suffer. And this actually is my first villanelle. I tried a villanelle for the first time the other day, and it's not a perfect villanelle, but it's doing villanelle-ish things. So this was my first villanelle titled Too Late Villanelle. My first villanelle. Cotton candy candle on the cake, sparkly, frost, moss, and delicate princess, toes piercing the crunchy chocolate. Underneath, the ants ramble about me. Even the dirt understood. I wanted to speak with Sleeping Beauty, join the animal choir in the woods where buried and free creatures recess, sang, typically. I did 2 acts that day. There was snow in Connecticut, casual and fantastically punctual. It was my God did way makeshift movie magic, unusual. The austere and winded fantasies compressed into the crease on my forehead, a rule, like a snowflake's hidden equation, geometric tool of a never-ending story, which is cruel. That serious rule, that was the lesson of Act 2, the vampire princess, under attack in a pool, where I drowned, melted deep inside, and was found, sadly, too late. Brianna, come inside, ya está bien. But I had so many dreams to catch, to do. So little time, I thought. I had a village to run, a coup to stage on the world, but a period tamed me. The sun each morning, the full moon, 2 lids, my one-man band and crew I chewed out because I played long and homework was due. And I will read Doña, which is the first poem of my manuscript. So this is Doña. Not dueña, but doña de la casa. Miss Señora Haitiana, you peel plátano with mahogany hands, elbow to elbow with my grandmother over a steel sink. A pink skirt hem hovers, wrinkled heels. Sways in warm wind as you shift hip. Rests, wait, and sigh in another language, not foreign but not mine. Not invited unless asked. You walk past the watching man in his watching house beneath the low hang of swollen fruits this bruised morning. While the cocks called the shoeless women and children out of the splotchy constellation of their too tight houses. lining clothes in rainbows over rooftops and across yards to shoo skinny mutts, their fleas and flies from concrete patios and coffee cups, where they are washed down the dirt drive by buckets of murky mop water, where they hid like lone wolves from the night's flood, the beating rain crucifying everything in its path against cracked tile, where they hid from wilder, uglier creatures than themselves, like the men who sometimes came in uninvited, dressed as militia creeping in through windows with guns, under the flashlight of a full moon to tie you up, shoot the dog in the face, and although he wasn't your dog in the first place, you cry over his tender stomach while they rummage through your closet. But that didn't happen today. That's why we have the watchman, who nods at you like he did yesterday. You were invited, just as he was invited, just as his gun was invited to work today. You creak open tall iron gates to another door with a padlock, punch in a passcode pronounced perejil. You cringe, but it's okay, because that didn't happen today. It's just a memory you told me about how your mother died on this side of the island because she couldn't pronounce parsley. Today, as with other days, you bless me by the couch and walk away to your work at the back of the house. And I think like you do, quietly in my favorite Barbie one piece, my dirty vacation-worn flip-flops up on the cushion tapping at, "Why do you not speak often?" You do not speak to me and the 7 other children you feed, but you call me, Señorita de la Casa, to the table and smile, until you turn the corner at the kitchen counter and dissipate into Creole hums. And I think I am like you, as we go about our business, like the people in office cubicles only speaking when spoken to. Though your Spanish is as broken as mine, you belong on this side of the island more than I, playing where you work, finding stars and wishing where you had found none came true, being brown where being black is a dirty secret left to ancestry reports. You belong more than I on this side. You look more I than I, with afro locks and sandals, long forehead and red toenails, African and island like wild horses running against their shadows, at the edge of sand's small world. I pushes I into the sea, cuts its head at the border with machetes, and with the night's tide they all fall asleep.
That was amazing, Brianna. Thank you so much. As you'll see in the chat, someone wrote, Lisa wrote that she loves the rhythm, the rhyme, and the way you read, not to mention what you have to say. Especially the first couple of poems were so musical, just wonderful. So thank you so much. Wonderful reading. And I mentioned also in the chat, please feel free to make comments to the poet in the chat. It's great for them to be able to look back and see what kind of comments their work inspired. So thank you, Brianna. Okay, next up we have another wonderful poet and an artist. Joseph Ellison Brockway is a poet, collagist, translator, and educator. He holds a PhD in literary studies and translation and teaches Spanish at Connecticut State Community College, Tunxis in Farmington. Joseph's poetry appears in various print and online publications, as well as in his full-length collection of poetry and art called Beautiful Corruption. So welcome, Joseph.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Barb. And very nice reading, Brianna. So you're going to get a continuation of some musicality in the first poem and second poem I'll read. As Barb mentioned, my interests are in Puerto Rico, and my work is greatly influenced by Latin American poets and authors, by surrealism. And so when I started working on my PhD program in translation, I came across a chapbook by a Puerto Rican poet named Namir Mato Sintron, published in 1981. And so I started translating her work. And so I thought I'd start out by reading a translation, and I'm actually going to read the Spanish first so you can hear it, and then I'll read my translation, okay? So this is called Canto a Chango. He recibido bautizo de fuego y de ceniza. Iniciada estoy, chango, vienes violenta. Hembra, hombre, hombra, vienes con fuerza. No te resisto. Asísteme, levánteme. Desde tu origen, desde Nigeria. Fuerza yoruba, ábreme paso. Con doble espada, doble filo. Entre izquierda o derecha, ábreme paso. Ábreme paso. I sing to Chango. Baptized by fire and ash, initiated I stand. Chango, come violently. Hembra, hombre, hombra. Your mighty force comes. I give in to you. Deliver me, raise me up from your birthplace, from Nigeria. Yoruba force, show me the way with your double blades, double-edged, whether left or right. Open the way for me. Um, so around the same time that I had started translating her work, which that poem invokes the Yoruba god Chango. I had read Isabel Allende's Island Beneath the Sea, which also dealt with Yoruba religious influences in the Caribbean and the mixtures, and as well as Alejo Carpentier's Kingdom of This World, in which he explores Haiti's history through the voodoo and African influences, as well as his theory of the real marvelous that he put forward in that book. And so this poem that I'm going to read now, I wrote sort of with all of that going on, and it's called The Drums. The drum beats spill into the street as black fists pound the taut white membranes. The wind carries the drumming calls through Congo Plaza, across the crowd, and I follow the sound. The waves of loas rise and dance from the drums as the blood pulsates from my feet up to my thighs. My green denim pants dance. I pause. I didn't believe in Shango. I didn't believe in Obatala, but they believed in me. I look up and see the leaves of the trees dance with the wind as the squirrels consume the acorns. Their shoulders rise and fall as they break open the shells. With each beat of the drums, their tails hypnotize the pupils of our eyes, pulsate as we watch. Their tails are accomplices. Comes the beat goes. Pounds the hand rolls. I didn't believe in Ogun. I didn't believe in Yemaya, but they believe. The suave corporeal swaying of the observers mimics the leaves, mimics the squirrels, mimics the grass. Shadows of the loas rise and dance from the drums, observing us as we sway back and forth. Closed fists drop. The blades of the grass sway back. Flat palm drag. Blades of grass sway forth. I didn't believe in Grand Bois, Loa, spirit of the grass, Loa, spirit of the trees. Closed fist drop. Leaves of the trees sway back. Flat palm drag. Leaves of the trees sway forth. Shoulders rise and fall to the rhythm and rise. I didn't believe in Chango. Fall to the rhythm and I didn't believe Obatala. Rise with the rhythm and they believe. Fall and rise in the rhythm. I look down at the crowd sway back. Drumming hands drum and sway forth. Focus on the drums sway back. Pounding fist pounds sway forth. Drum the hands drum and trance the crowd bows and pound the fist pound. Sway drum the hands drum back pound fist pound. Fourth crowds lift up hands drum boom ba fist pound ground blah. I watch the crowd disperse. The man in denim pants slowly staggers away, disappearing between the leaves. Thank you. So that was my attempt at mimicking the sound of the drums and the invocation of the spirits, and then of course the possession. So I am also very interested in surrealism. This is something that I study, and oh, just how I write and see the world. And so I was asked to translate these poems from a Spanish poet who released her debut book in 1980. And so she was writing in the vein of surrealism. So I translated these poems for someone for their magazine, and I thought I would read just one of the poems that I translated. I'll read the Spanish and then the English, so you can kind of hear the sound. So this poem is called, well, okay, so in Spanish. Sangro de veras, sangro luz que se escapa, y es en mí donde las cabalgaduras se reúnen para arrancar con borlados cascos, ancas de piedra, atesorada la asesina vegetación del tomillo y las llamas de mayo. También arrastro mi sueño como un vestido manchado, sucio y celeste, originado por el ángel que divulga la sangre y la sed. Arrastro mi sueño, emerjo bajo un mediodía moderado, arrastrando y dejando ángulos, letras que penden de los cielos de la sangre y la sed. I bleed, really bleed light that escapes, and it's inside me where the steeds gather to tear up with framed hooves, haunches of massive rock, the invasive time, vegetation, and May flames. And I drag my dream behind me like a stained dress, filthy and heavenly ordained by the angel who reveals blood thirst. I drag my dream. I emerge under an oppressive midday, dragging and leaving behind angles, letters that hang from the heavens of bloodthirst. So those who are familiar with surrealism, a lot of the writing is based on associations, whether that's through the image or through sound, automatic writing. So as the ideas come and letting just the subconscious come out and so in those poems there was a lot of that, right? So collage is also an artwork that was very big during the Surrealist movement, is still big today. A lot of people are aware. But the point of collage was to juxtapose images that are seemingly disparate, but when you put them together, there's a spark. They bring about something that possibly was hidden in your subconscious. So I'm working on some postcard collages, and I'm going to share my screen now.
Not yet.
All right. So these are very constrained works because they are postcards, and I'm taking postcards and I'm just making them my own with collage. And then what I'm doing is I'm writing sort of prose poems. They have to be short because they have to fit on the postcard when I send them off. And once I create it and write it and send it to somebody, it's gone. It's no longer mine. It's out in the world. Whatever they choose to do with it is up to them. So here are some of the ones I want to share with you. Okay, so this is a postcard of Goya's Maja Vestida, and I call it What a Vision. Goya's Maja enters the technological age with trepidation. I find it ever so challenging to disconnect. I think the shorter winter days have me a bit melancholic. So Goya also painted a Maja desnuda, so the same woman laying down but now without clothes. So I titled this Fresh Meat. To the carnivore's delight, Goya's naked Maja removed a little too much. My, how beauty standards have changed since Goya first undressed his Maja. If social media existed in Goya's time, I imagine this painting would have gotten him canceled. Simpler times. Here's another one from Goya's works that I titled Thanksgiving Feast. Goya's blind hen play has gone awry. It's all fun and games until the 1% get hungry. The United States of gluttony rears its greedy hand. Our capitalist Thanksgiving leaves me feeling disenchanted. So this postcard is of an artwork called Oof. That's at MoMA. And this poem is called Tiny Prick. Oof. Interjection. Used to express discomfort, surprise, or dismay. First known use, 1777. The discomforting male gaze is met with sharp dismay. Read the signs. Beware the temptation to touch the seductive cacti. May cause tiny prick. So this particular postcard was just of the American flag, and that's a work that is also housed at the MoMA in New York City. And I call this Land of the Free. Have we come that far from whips and chains? Can we call ourselves the land of the free? Lying dead in the snow, refusing to be photographed in life, Bigfoot doesn't seem so big. How brave to die for a cause. And then I think I will thank you. I think I'll conclude this one with this one. So this was a postcard of two cheeseburgers. It's the artwork is two cheeseburgers, and so that was what the postcard was of. And so I titled this "No Burger Kings." Two cheeseburgers with everything from McDonald's combined have approximately 600 calories, 30 grams of fat, and 1,500 grams of sodium. The nation that rebelled against its king 250 years ago now fancies the idea of a royal highness of large proportions. America's export, obesity. A belly full of double cheeseburgers and a tub of lard is no good for anyone. Thank you.
Oh, wonderful. Please check the chat because lots of fun comes. Hearing the poem in Spanish, the original language, before the translation is just a phenomenal way to go about it. And your poem, where you were where you were imitating the drum beats, and it was just mesmerizing. So thank you, Joseph. And the postcards are wonderful, and I hope you send me one. Anyway, okay, let's keep going. Oh yeah, and check your comments. Some wonderful, wonderful comments. Okay, next we have Nancy Gerber. Nancy holds a PhD in English from Rutgers University and completed psychoanalytic training at the Academy of Clinical and Applied Psychoanalysis, where she's a faculty member currently. Nancy's most recent poetry collection, Language Like Water, explores the poet's complicated relationship with her mother. Boy, do I know that one. Anyway, so please welcome Nancy. Hi, Nancy.
Hello, and hello, everyone. Thank you for coming, and thank you, Barb, for inviting me. So I'd like to start with a few poems from a chapbook that was published by a very tiny press that's now defunct. But what I liked about this press was that they would include artwork, and so it's a chapbook of my poems, also with there are interwoven family photos. My father was a refugee from Nazi Germany. He left in 1938. And as the oldest child in the family, I carried that burden of his what's called survivor guilt, because so many did not survive. So the first set of poems are from We Are All Refugees, which explores that history in my family. In the garden, Stuttgart. Captive forever in black and white, my family seated in the garden. Great Uncle Louis, great grandma Clara, two daughters, Flora and Ilse, my father, his sister Ruth, their cousins Laura and Peter. The year is 1930, my father 7. No one imagines the gassings. 5 years later, Flora is gone, felled by infection from an asylum, her mind diseased before her body. My grandfather Kurt reappears to care for his children, though he has married another woman. After the war, a reunion for those who are left. The U.S., their new home. Learn a new tongue, try to forget. The garden beckons, but my father returned only once. I've never been, though at night I dream of deep forests, rushing rivers, a woman's voice calling mein Liebchen, a castle where everyone waltzes. The next two poems are about my father's father, who I met once. He passed away when I was 4. He was very disliked in our family because he left my father's mother and married another woman, and that in the late 1920s, that was considered scandalous. This is called Grandfather. In the photograph, you are young, wearing white coat and spectacles, intent and determined, a serious man, promising healer. Alas, you gave pain instead of salve. You took up with a woman, drove your delicate wife into madness. One day she stripped off her dress, ran naked down the streets. In 1928, divorce was a scandal. Still, you plunged a knife into your marriage and family. I'd always heard your name uttered with utmost disdain, but shrewdly you knew to hide funds in a Netherlands bank, planning for flight from your blighted land, where signs in the parks read no Jews and dogs allowed. My young grandmother found peace in a Stuttgart grave. Your children clasped the rails aboard the Neue Amsterdam, their tears salting a sea that would not weep. These are not cheerful poems. This is a little bit more cheerful. It's called My Father. My father, a people person, became a number cruncher, a profession built of necessity to support his young family. Accounting, he was a solo practitioner. His clients, large PR firms and doctors, mechanics, or shoe repair, all men, maybe to heal the relationship with his difficult father. The shoe shop was owned by a fellow named Rocco. I would tag along on bi-monthly visits. The front of the store held the tang of new leather and the funk of old shoes. Hundreds of loafers and Oxfords, pumps and flats crammed the shelves. How did Rocco find anything? The back office, where my father did the books, whatever that was, cluttered with files and folders. How could my father find anything? After checking the ledger, my father and Rocco would sit in the front, cracked leather seats, drink coffee, shoot the breeze. I sat in the back, trying to read, lulled by the chant of two friends. I'll read 2 more from this book. This is called On Closter Dock Road, My Father Tells Me. Driving up Closter Dock Road on the way to New York, where I have a summer job as a clerk, I ask my father what happened in Germany. As always, he changes the subject. How's your job? He asks. This time I persist. Something happened. Did you wear the star? Did they call you names? He sighs. He does not want this conversation. I wore the star. Your aunt and I were sent to a school just for Jews. One day, a bunch of kids blocked me in the alley, kicked me around, stole my bike. I want to know more. Who were these boys? What did they say? Were you badly hurt? I don't ask. My father is done with questions, his silence as heavy as a steel door. And the last poem, thank you, I'll read is called We Are All Refugees. I read some of the poems from this book to a group of students at Passaic County Community College when I lived in New Jersey. And they were a very, very diverse group of students. New Jersey has one of the most diverse populations in the country, many, many immigrants. And the class, everyone in the class came from somewhere else. And I said, I don't know if I can say we are all refugees, you know. And I asked the students if they had a problem with it. And they said no, they liked the title, that it was very inclusive and it kind of ruptured the barrier between us and them, which I thought was lovely. And so I went ahead and read it. We are all refugees. We are all refugees. For who are we, if not seekers of asylum from the ghosts of the past? We all need shelter, a place to call home as we cast our lines toward the distant horizon. And now I'll just read a few other poems from sort of other parts of my life. This one is called Among Men. The alarm fellow says to my husband, I heard from your son. I told him, don't worry about the bill. Just send it to your old man. They share a round of laughter as if it were beer. My husband says, yeah, just send me the bill. But that wasn't the plan. These men work in different worlds, one a contractor, the other in finance. We've met Roy's son, and he's met ours. Two fathers just made a deal, voices assured, rich in pride. Men love to make deals. The sweeter the deal, the happier they are. They made a deal over love. I am a woman, an expert of the heart. Who knew? And thank you. The next two poems are in December, I fell and broke my wrist, and it was a bad break, and I needed surgery. It was the first time I'd had surgery for a broken bone, and I have to say, it really threw me for a loop. And so I wrote a few poems. I wrote a few poems about it, and I'll read two. The first one's called Accident. The night I walked into a wall, 2 a.m., on my way to the loo, the shock threw me to the hardwood floor where I lay, splayed wrist, faint flames of pain running through me. Something I learned from surgery, titanium plate suturing my bones. The body is not invincible. Like glass, bones can crack, and pain, like life, can be born. But unlike life, pain has no meaning, a banishment, a closed door. And this is called High Wire. High above the cheering crowd, the artist pauses on the wire, mesmerizing grace and poise. Suddenly, the balance pole tilts, his body tips, the crowd gasps. But no, he rights himself, proceeds to cross the chasm below, whereas I, no agile acrobat, tripped and tumbled in night's dark depths, a hardwood floor my landing place, left arm akimbo, wrist cracked thrice in two bones, no cheering crowd, no way to cross. Thank you. And for the last poem, this was based on a shopping trip that my husband and I took to Brooklyn with our adult son who lives in Brooklyn. He was going to help my husband pick out new clothes, which was something I was really dreading because my husband hates to go clothes shopping. And when we go to Brooklyn, we are definitely the oldest people there. It's like really freaky and it freaks us out. So this is called Shopping for Clothes with Our Adult Son. They look at us as though we've dropped from outer space. or the way you'd study curiosities, something you'd find in your grandmother's closet, or as old-fashioned teacups to be handled with care, or bemusement. But we're not there to entertain. Our mission, we're in Brooklyn's bustling downtown with my son, a grown man who's offered to help my husband shop for cooler clothes. Perhaps you already know, there are few aged people in the places my son hangs out. He insists you can find them in Brooklyn, but we've never seen any. My son soon succeeds where I've always failed. My husband agrees on tailored chinos, button-down shirts that actually fit, a handsome new jacket, a leather belt. My son is patient and supportive. I am not. Bye-bye, baggy jeans. Hello, fitted denim. That night, we celebrate and raise our glasses, a toast to my husband's new threads. And that's it.
That's wonderful. Boy, I
Thank
know that last poem too. Shopping with husband, that doesn't work.
It's tough, yeah.
What a wonderful dichotomy of poem or diversity of poems between the refugee poems and the last few there. So thank you very much.
Thank
Beautiful.
you.
And please read your comments. Yeah, definitely a lot of good feedback for you. So, all right. So here we go. Next up, we have David Henry. Let's see, David Henry, who is the current Beat Poet Laureate of Connecticut. Woo! Is a lover and defender of nature. His poetry reveals links to the cosmos, to time, and to the wonders of being alive. Before retiring from his second career as a solar service technician, David repaired old looms in Connecticut's woolen mills, which I'm sure, hopefully we're going to hear some poems about that. So welcome, please, David.
Hey everyone. Thank you, Barb, and thanks for everybody for coming and the other poets. My first poem is about EVs. Star ray driven propulsion machinery, fast charging ahead, decarbonizing renewable grid, forming, unfolding, building out, drivers of conscientious resilience and velocity of movement, pulsing pulses of energizing electromagnetic magnets of induction, spinning motor rotor shafts in wheeled axles, power rolling from stored photovoltaic effect, terra mariners on highways sailing with stowed ballast full of powerful wind. In a positive state of charge, flourishment destined, reducing carbon suction from well pipes extracting, phase changing of substance streams, part of a decoupling of the grid wires from the billowing bellows, so to drive on pure, sunlit wind. Thanks. Thinking like a crystal, clear as a winter's night, in a silent vein of quartz visible on granite outcrop, sinking into the rock formation, into the center of the crystalline depths. There, encased in the dense quartz, suspended in manifestation, a single bonded molecule of mineral, quiet as a jewel, calm as rock, surrounded in cool touch sensations, immersed in a matter of vibrant, feeling how a gemstone feels. Pink light of dawn glow, passing through translucent band of semi-precious glassy mini monoliths, sound muffled by density, humming the note of stone, happily enveloped by peace, glad to be in a delightful, solid state. Oh, here comes another poem for us. Walking out onto the page. Seems out of place. Head pivoting around, trying to determine which way to go. Bewildered, disheveled, overwhelmed, looks inside an internal context, feels a strong potential of presence, is proud to try to move into view, self-avowed, not yet on shelves, too stubborn to ask directions for the library, refuses to evolve to be what people find popular, not inclined to enter contests with an entry tailored for a judging. What then is the poem to do? The collection of words confers among itself, reaches a consensus to suggest the tried and true method of word of mouth. Reading material, lifted arbitrarily off the maple coffee table, opened by chance to this page. This silly scribble of Scrabble letters, ridiculously verses voluntarily summarizing a convoluted, orchestrated resistance to stagnation of revolution, rejecting to tread the paved way of hate. Page speaking out for itself in the delight of the daylight, to the motion of the moon. Dare we say, we rise, incompletely realizing to fulfillment as stars point light beams at us. The paperback book gives into a closed slow, and backed on the table with a pensive sigh. I want to read this other one before I run out of time. I forgot to set my timer, so it just waved to me. This is from my first book, Poems from the Biosphere. Atop the flagpole flaps a flag of ours, with a corner blue, spangled with star-white stars, and stripes of red and white streaming in the fluid air, patriotic colors, soaring with patriotic flair. Each of 13 horizontal bands of red and white, flying for the first of the United States to unite. Stitched adjacently, the colonies that stood to fight, freedom formed from their collaborated might. Each stellar star-shaped icon standing for a statehood, 50 sewn together for the broader good. Half a hundred starlit votes in a Congress blue, constituting a country united, a republic true. Many parts cut from sturdy cloth, stitched individually with strong tailored thread, together indivisibly. One nation, one people, one banner on flagpole tall, displayed for liberty and for justice, guaranteed for all. Red and white and blue, drawing glances of the eye, flagging notice to stop and see the great flag fly. Wind-induced movement attracts observation, swelling hearts with pride and love of nation. Stars and stripes flowing with the breeze, unfurled in glory, the flag does wave with ease. Patriotic symbolic symbol flying oh so high, joyous and waving in the free blue sky. So salutations to the flag do we give, giving meaning to who we are and where we live. Hand on heart, tears of pride withholding, freedom and justice in flags ever unfolding. This is from These Moments in Progression. That's the name of the book, too. These moments in progression take up a precise set of measured travel time and spin distance of planet. The cosmic running clockwork motion traces elliptical ring orbits around a jeweled center star. The galactic counting machine is busy adding up twirls and go-rounds while surrounded by the enormous expanse. The constant now is segmented into a duration divisions of a revolving mechanized lamp globe lit half blue. An adventurous renegade thought launches in an escape pod from the gravitation through introspection of perception and deviation of viewpoint. Thought extracts itself from the apparatus planetary gear workings of timepiece sphere movements. It ignores the focus on the positional relationship of stuff to motion of such, lifting free to float in timeless spaciousness. Thought thinks a way into a tranquil void. I wrote this about 4 years ago. It's almost relevant now. Standing in the hell of a precarious purgatory, looking at paradise surrounding. As the devastation eternal war of smoldering Hades leaps locations and spreads virally to overcome peace. As stark starvation flourishes in a world of plenty. As planet spins toward disastrous environmental calamity. As persistent oppression teams up with light suppression. Limbo dancers dance on the beach of limbo, and conga drums lit by bonfire flames. Amidst the hallowed cosmos during this confluence of times, in a blurred, almost undistinguishable situation, congealed in this tense present tense. Green light to proceed to the garden renewal. Oil age barons barrel through the red light to collide with the emerging. When the dust particles fall from suspension, the arriving conclusion determines if the end is the start. Sunlight to the rescue. With wind rushing in, powerful natural powers. The methodology, is in a series of choreographed steps in succession, partnered conversion mechanisms to run the transformed civilization. The plan lays out in certainty of daylight, planes of sunlit panels of magic glass, oriented to catch bright, abounding glow, aligned to the local cosmic light source, while tall power towers catch gusting breezes with rotating blades cutting air at the edge of air. Nature's breath blows the pinwheel. Elements dance with components of technology, fueling to turn the motors, electrifying the fixtures, moving the motors of the motions of information, in a collaborative existence with the life on planet Earth, embracing the modern way to live free. Oh, how am I doing? I guess I'm doing pretty good in time. I'm different than you. You differ from me too. We rhyme, you and I, with the blue of sky. This simple poem we words are each a star. All uniquely so diverse information of each verse. What makes me be me makes you and I be we. All compiled here, spinning on our sphere. All of us are one, reciting around the sun. I think that's it.
There you go. That's great. Wonderful poems, David. Thank you so much. I love the comparing a wind generator to a pinwheel, nature's pinwheel. It's wonderful. So thank you. Now, for how many years did you repair old looms? That sounds really...
So I repaired looms in Connecticut woolen mills for 30 years.
Wow. Are there any mills left?
There's I think there's one or two, but they're not really in full operation.
That's wow, what a legacy, boy. All right. Well, thank you so much. What a great selection of poems. All right. Last this evening, we have Linda Blakesley. Linda found her poetic voice after joining several virtual open mics during the coronavirus pandemic. Since then, she's become active in her local arts organization and has hosted a poetry open mic series since, 2023. So, and what else? Oh, and she's also an avid runner. So please welcome Linda and check her bio in the chat. Hi, Linda.
Hi, Barb. Thank you so much for inviting me to join this prestigious group of poets. I can't believe I'm ending this amazing group. Brianna, Joseph, Nancy, and David. I thoroughly enjoyed hearing your work. And so thank you. I just want to say, so I have a few poems. Thanks for Brianna for the tip on the timer. And the themes that you'll hear, I'm just going to read my poems, but the themes for the most part are around nature and relationships, my own relationships with my family and my ancestors, as well as depression, sort of all intermixed. However, the first poem that I want to read is a new poem, and it's a poem that was born out of a land acknowledgement that I typically give at my open mics, and in my desire to continue to learn and do more with the land acknowledgement. I wrote a poem specifically looking at the indigenous tribes in my area of Coventry and how they related to the waterways. And so I'm wondering if David may even pick up, I mentioned the Wright's Mill, so maybe that will be something that you know of. And I'll start. Oh, Crooked Pond, Lake Wangambag, an Algonquin language family, the Nipmuc we call upon. They hunted and fished and cared for the land. Stone arrowheads were crafted with their bare hand in relation with the rivers they stood on its bank, following eels from a marsh through the Skunkamug. They had hope for 7 generations from then and converged at the hop where they became one. Sagumpskatuk means a flowing river through hard rock. They connected with the Warmantica, as called by the Mohegan, a good lookout place in a land where swift-moving waters race. From indigeneity, the current carries these words would not have been possible without Jabagi's research. Opening the gate to the Mill Brook, meandering fast then slow over its bedrock. 2 miles journey to its confluence, trout swim downstream, provide sustenance. The Pequot were plenty before the war, displaced in 1637, but today they're still here. Oh, Crooked Pond, Lake Wangambag, 3 rivers and brooks that go on and on. The Nipmuc today live in Massachusetts, mostly in the Mohegan and Pequot, are recognized federally. Hundreds of years since we overtook this land after Adamwana deeded to 15 white men. The deer still run abundantly through the forest. The rivers flow and the fish flourish. 3 rivers, 3 tribes with profound influence on a community that grew from its first people's roots without the Nipmuc, the Mohegan, and the Pequot. 7 generations from then would have looked quite different. Their care and their love runs deep through hard rock. Now we are the stewards and must do the work. In relation with the river and land we walk upon, swimming in the history of the Crooked Pond, we look to the future. What will we leave beyond 7 generations from now, oh Lake Wangambag? I'm going to have a mix of, thank you, I'm going to have a mix of longer and short ones. This is a short one. My eye blinked at the memory of you sitting there, perched the same as when I looked away. You were like a bird, but I don't feel the feeder anymore. It's not like you starve. You just find another seed and flitter on. I see you sitting in the tree, peering in my glass window. Nothing is private anymore. I assume my thoughts become abstract works of art on some other world dimension, like a melody. My inflection writes the mood, but doesn't factor in that in the inside I'm left wishing the defogged glass would reveal your eyes. thinking of me when nothing else mattered. One time on a Facebook post, my niece made a comment to me and said, "You are like a bird." And I wrote a poem. "You are like a bird," she chirped to me. Her song embraced my ribs tightly. "Evolved like a finch," did she mean? Or red, like the spirit of a former being? Does she hear me mourning like a dove, interpreting V-shaped notes above, mimicking the cry of a red-shouldered hawk? I'm in the backyard if you need to talk. A coiled neck against a sunset sky mirrors her strife for peace, do I? Which version of the raven from folklore, like a cormorant drying wings on the shore? My heart beats loud an ancestral roar, the antidote to nevermore. Echo memories of nestling cries like a seed I've forgotten where it lies. But she's a long-term melody. Does she hear the familiar caw as me? Is it my distinctive hair that caps my head, that deepens her understanding of the path I led? A whistling trill in the air, a sign from above I'm always near. Perhaps I'm a birdsong in her heart, known first to the ear at each new start. Sweet is the nectar of a vibrant flower, joy found in puddles following a shower. A lonely bird walks down the tree. Is that me? Or is it herself she sees, breaking free from a cage, fledged into this world filled with rage? I wish I could shield her vestigially, but it's clear she's got all she needs from me. So blessed to hear her sweet avian, to her a bird I am, she sings. Thank you. This one is called Remnants of the Great Depression. I watch in horror as jelly drip, drip, drips from my husband's peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I have the nerve to utter, "Are you going to eat that jelly?" Because that's a waste. He uses the last of his crust to lift the jelly into his mouth, simultaneously piercing me with knowing eyes. Flashback 1980 something. My grandma Hollis's coy smile scolds me. I hear her say, "I'll just put less jelly on the sandwich if you're going to waste it." So I scooped up every last glob of jelly off the plate with my finger and under her watchful eye. Never wasting a jelly drip to this day. I smile up at Grandma from behind my own Great Depression. And another one that honors both my grandmothers. Depression is like when Irish eyes are smiling, sung by my Italian grandmother with somber blue eyes, crying tears of her ancestors. Like a long ago four-leaf clovers found by my father on his auntie's front yard in Providence, a sea of green nostalgia as he recounts childhood memories in his old age. Like the twinkle hidden in my Irish grandmother's eyes that took on pain for her descendants, not realizing it seeped out to future generations, her spark, an Irish hope spoken in Gaelic, that although we don't understand the words, if we listen to the melody, we will heal as humans, as family, as our progeny smiles softly to the past, peeking out from Irish eyes. I think I've got just a couple more. I think I'm good on time. It's wonderful. This is one that really delves into nature, a brook by my house. While I sat by it, I wrote this. The rambling ripple rush of water ripping over each rock, circumventing every obstacle in its path. Nothing hinders it as it swirls and sheds out, never veering from its ultimate destination, which no one truly knows, yet it crisscrosses each topographical challenge with ease and beauty, demonstrating its power gently as the birds sing above and the grasses sway in the breeze. A calmness sets in I shall never know again, at least not like this in this state, as the water passes by and beneath and beyond to the man-made lake, I suppose, and then immerses and blends with the fresh water, mixes with sprinkles of precipitation underneath the evening clouds, darkened by the night sky, reflecting an illusion of peace of what the world could never be. Until the splash of the first morning catch before dawn flies into the reeds with the heron, leaving behind warming temperatures of the day brought on by the rise of the sun and her evaporation magic that draws droplets into the air, transforming vapor as they diffuse into the universe, the only destiny it ever had, and all that it touched in between its fall and rise was its own journey, just like each of ours. And if I feel the gentle kiss of misting rain fall upon my skin, standing my hairs at the slight accompanying breeze, brushing past my cheek, tickling my nose with loose, long locks of uncut hair, then I am one and need no more and want no less. Yet I chase the calming effect of this most basic element, reaching down, dipping my hands into the brook water, scooping up what liquid remains wetted on my fingertips, and I touch my lips and temples and close my eyes, feeling the beauty of water's connection to man, to humankind, satiating its thirst, saturating its roots, knowing I do not exist without it as it whimlessly washes over the surfaces of the earth, holding human life as it drips through its fingers, making it impossible to sustain. As dehydration sets in, drying out my skin and my lips and my throat before my red eyes appears a hallucination of what could have been had it not been for my footprint. I think I might have time for one more. This is one of the earlier poems I wrote in the beginning in early COVID when I was finding my voice. You know, it's comforting like that first cup of coffee that percolates, making a gorgeously torturous sound, sitting on the floor in the kitchen, leaned against the cabinets. And the cat has climbed on my lap because, you know, she's hungry as she purrs. Water gurgles up through the tube over the freshly ground beans, and I wait 10 long seconds for it to settle before I pour into my second favorite coffee mug because, you know, he broke my favorite cat mug yesterday by accident. Now ceramic memories lay shattered in my mind, and steam emits from the cup, too hot to drink just yet, but I'm calmer now, just knowing it is there. No cream, no sugar, just pure black coffee calling my name. Makes me think of Grandpa because, you know, that's how he took his, he told me, while in the Navy overseas. Finally, I take my first sip, and, you know, it tastes like heaven, if heaven has a taste, and heaven is real. And I hope it is comforting, you know.
Oh, I love that last one too. Excellent, Linda. As you'll see in the chats, try to catch them before we sign off. Lots and lots of comments on you become the energy and rhythm of your poem. It's wonderful, wonderful performance as well as wonderful poetry. So thank you, poets. Thank you, audience. I just want to remind everyone, please come back on June 3rd. I'll share our let's see, where is it again? Share right there. Wonderful lineup of poets here in Connecticut who have new collections out, one of whom is here tonight, Tony Fusco, also Katie Schneider, Robert Piazza, Jay Brook, and Sandy Yanone. So it's going to be a really good reading, and it's going to be our final one for the summer. We hibernate in July and August, but I hope you can make it and join us. So thank you, everyone. Lucy, thank you. Thank Ridgefield Library, as always, for hosting us.
Thank you very much, dear Barb. Good night, everyone. Thank you,
Good night.
poets. That was great.
That was a fun night. Fun night.
Good night. Okay, let me.
This was so fun. Thank you.
Glad you could make it.
Night, everybody.